Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. You're currently riding the Missionary Ridge Local. Our destination for today is the East Chattanooga Depot. We'll be traveling about 6 miles round trip, traveling over 4 bridges and through 1 tunnel.
Ticket! All handbrakes are released. Thank you.
He's clicking it.
Ticket!
If you look to your left in the direction of travel, you'll see what appears to be a gravel road. This is where the original 1858 East Tennessee and Georgia track line would have been. The line was raised to its current position in 1915 due to frequent flooding in the early 1900s. In just a few moments, you'll see a tree with a yellow line marker indicating how high the floodwaters would have gotten during the Great Flood of 1867, at about 9 feet above ground level. Going over Chickamauga Creek. And making our way towards our second bridge of the journey. This bridge will take us over the Western and Atlantic Railroad. This was the very first completed line headed into Chattanooga. It's currently owned by the state of Georgia and they lease it out to CSX. Now, this line was also made famous in history for its use in the Great Locomotive Chase, which tells us the story of a group of 20 men known as Andrews Raiders. They were Union spies led by James Andrews, and their mission with their raid was to commandeer Confederate engines and do as much damage as possible to the tracks as they made their way north to Chattanooga. On the morning of April 12, 1862, the men boarded the train in the middle of Georgia, making its way towards Kennesaw, Georgia, or was then known as Big Shanty, where the passengers and crew would stop for breakfast. When the train became unoccupied, Andrews' Raiders made their move and began uncoupling the cars and taking off with the engine general. However, the Confederate conductor, William Fuller, noticed his own locomotive leaving without him and immediately gathered his crew together to chase after the engine general, first by foot, then by pushcar. Eventually, they got their hands on 3 separate locomotives, even going full speed in reverse on a locomotive known as the Texas. The Union spies did not successfully carry out their raid as they had to abandon their stolen locomotive just 3 miles short of reaching their destination of Chattanooga, where they fled to the woods to escape capture. However, all 20 men were taken captive and placed in 3 Confederate prisons. Most of the men made it out alive, except for 8 unlucky souls, including the leader, James Andrews, would be hanged in Atlanta, Georgia for being spies. In 1866, the city of Chattanooga would erect a bronze monument of a replica of the engine general as a reminder of the historic chase, and it also informs us that many of these men were the first recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Boulevard. making our way towards Missionary Ridge Tunnel. This tunnel was completed in 1858 and it is 986 feet long. It was dug out completely by hand during this time period, as dynamite would not be invented until after the Civil War, and black powder was not used due to the two natural water reservoirs located underneath the tunnel. And when you hear our locomotive blow its whistle, that's an indication to everyone that we are about to enter the tunnel. Once inside, it will get dark. So please feel free to plot any flashlights on your cell phones or elsewhere so you can see just how close we get to the tunnel walls. At times, it is less than 10 inches. So if you're sitting in the car with the windows that open all the way up, please keep everything inside the car. During the Civil War, there was heavy fighting near Missionary Ridge Tunnel as Confederate and Union troops battled for Chattanooga. Approaching our fourth and final bridge, going over Arno Street.